Hey there everybody, Michael here with a special vlog after The Time of the Doctor, this year's Doctor Who Christmas special. And I've gotten a few questions for thoughts about the regeneration and the special and all that stuff. What do I think of Peter Capaldi? He's had, what, like 10 seconds in the job? I don't really have an opinion yet. I'm going to wait till, I think, August when he comes back to actually do real adventures with him actually as the Doctor and not like regeneration trauma crazy guy, which is standard fare. I mean, Matt Smith was a regeneration trauma crazy guy a couple years back and everybody thought he was going to be terrible. Surprise! He wasn't. By the way, he wasn't. Can we get that out of the way? He was not a bad Doctor. So yeah, I think The Time of the Doctor is a great close to the Matt Smith era. If the Matt Smith era is designed as a fairy tale, and it was, and Matt Smith's 11th Doctor is a mythic hero, he sort of had to deal with his own problems in a very mythical, hubris-facing kind of way. The 11th Doctor didn't want to die, but he also didn't want to get bored. He doesn't like settling. And the idea that he has to settle in this one place for hundreds of years to defend them, and at the end of it, his reward is dying. That's a crazy, interesting, wild story that the show really hasn't properly done. I heard somebody complain that the 11th Doctor's death wasn't a surprise, and that was in some way a problem. But David Tennant's death wasn't a surprise. He went into End of Time knowing he was going to die. The four knocks, the song is ending, all that crap. Like, Matt Smith knew he was going to his grave. The 11th Doctor. The 11th Doctor knew he was going to his grave. He knew it was over. He knew this was his last adventure, and he accepted it calmly. He protected Clara, he defended this town, and he got old. And I like that a lot. And I don't understand the people who don't. And I saw another complaint about how centuries of plot being thrown away in a montage is a bad move. Do you really want to sit for 300 years with like a guy rolling up, a laser beam blowing them up, and the Doctor going, yeah, that happened. Cool beans. See you later. I don't. That sounds dumb. Let's skip to that, the good parts. Old guy Doctor, which is awesome, by the way. The fact that we got to see Matt Smith's Doctor grow old. We don't usually get that in Doctors. The idea of like a Doctor owning up. I like that a lot. A lot. And I thought the regeneration was really interesting. And I really, really like the fact that the 12 regeneration fan law thing just got thrown away into Ex Machina, because that's kind of what it deserves. The 12 regeneration rule is a throwaway line in 1976's The Deadly Assassin, which is designed as part of a longer arc from Robert Holmes, the series editor at the time, and Philip Hinchcliffe, the producer at the time, to imply that Tom Baker was not the 4th Doctor, but the second-to-last Doctor, the 12th Doctor. The idea hinged on an earlier story, The Brain of Morbius, in which the Doctor and Morbius get into this mind duel. And as part of the mind duel, we see 8 other faces, before William Hartnell. And fans have come up with this idea that those 8 faces are Morbius's faces, which makes no sense, because in dialogue, Morbius talks about them being the Doctor's faces. All those extra faces are wearing Earth attire from various eras of Earth's history. Those 8 faces are clearly designed to be the Doctor, previous Doctors. And the funny thing about them is 2 of those Doctors are played by Robert Holmes and Philip Hinchcliffe, the photos. And one of them is actually Graham Harper, who was a production assistant who ended up becoming a director later and has directed new series episodes since, which is crazy. But anyway, the 12 regeneration limit was never designed to be a problem for someone in 2013. It was designed to be something Robert Holmes could deal with a couple years later. Sadly, Philip Hinchcliffe got kind of fired, and Holmes's work started to diminish. It was part of a seemingly recurring thing with Robert Holmes. The 2 opportunities he had to, put authorial statements on Doctor Who, he tried to end the show. I mean, first was the Tom Baker second-to-last Doctor thing, and second was in Trial of a Time Lord. His original ending was like a non-solvable cliffhanger with the 6th Doctor and the Valeyard rolling through history for all of time, like fighting infinitely, and that would be the end of the show. Which, pass. But as far as Time of the Doctor goes, yeah, I liked it. I thought it was a good ending to the story. It was a good end to the fairy tale. And it closed up pretty much everything of the Smith era. Like, the only lingering thing is really Clara, and she's ready to start a new adventure. She's seemingly has a new house. She's a school teacher now. Her life has essentially been reset to something a little more interesting. And now she has to deal with a brand new Doctor. And I'm really curious to see where that goes. I'm sad we have to wait a lot of time until the fall to see what happens, but we're not getting a split series, which is kind of nice. We're going to get a full 13, which will be really good to have again, and I'm curious to see it. I've got a bunch of hopes and a bunch of ideas, and none of them will probably come to fruition, and that's fine. Because I don't think Moffat is as bad as all of you seem to think he is. I think he's pretty good at this, and I think he's doing some interesting work, and I'm interested to see what his Act 2 looks like. So, yeah. What do you think? I'm sure you have a lot of thoughts about everything I've just said. Line in the comments below, and I may even read them. See you next week with the first Geek Crash course of 2014. It'll be here in a flash. That's a pun, because we're doing the Flash. Bing!